Hello everyone, my name is Cindy Enrique. I'm a math professor, and I've been asked by my friends and some family members to just kind of make a talk about my views, my perspective, my experience with COVID-19, aka the coronavirus. I'm not an expert in the medical field. I'm not a doctor. I don't work for the government. All I am is a math professor. I can just look at data and analyze it. So we begin by looking at credible sources. So I know there's a lot of information out there and it can be very overwhelming. So you want to make sure that you look at sources that are credible. For me, one of the credible sources is University of Johns Hopkins. Okay, I believe that that's a credible source. So that's where a lot of my information is going to be coming from, other than the CDC. So right now, in the entire world, there's about 441,000 cases of COVID-19. We know that this epidemic started in China, and China as of today, see, this is the date right there. And today means, March 25th, and I took this information or this data at 9 o'clock this morning. So China, as of March 25th, 9 a.m., has about 81,000 confirmed cases. The US is not far behind, okay? And we have about 55,000 cases in the US as of today, 9 o'clock this morning, okay? So this isn't just, something that's happening over there and it's not us. It's happening in our backyard. It's happening to our neighbors. It's happening to people that we know. So we really want to make sure that we take this information and we use it wisely. So in the USA, we have this nice chart, again from Johns Hopkins University. And as of March 23rd, we have about 43,000 cases. So let's think about that for a minute. So I just showed you, as of today, March 25th, the US has 55,000 cases. And just 2 days ago, we had 43,734 cases, okay? China, a couple days ago, had 79,000 cases, okay? And on this graph, we also have South Korea in purple. We have our UK in light blue. We have France in blue. We have Germany in yellow, Spain in orange. Again, the US is in black, China is in red, and Italy is in green. So we can see that China and Italy have had more days of exposure, as well as South Korea. This is amazing. And by amazing, I mean, look at South Korea over here. They have been managing to stay below 10,000. And they are on what, day 33, 34 here? So South Korea, whatever you guys are doing it right and should be a model of how to control COVID-19 in your country. The US, we're trying our best. We have certain things, certain protocols, set in place, but we are growing exponentially. This is an exponential graph for us. So let's think about this. So that chart that I showed you before, so 325, that's today. Our cases that we have, it was, 55,568. So 55,568, that's about here. So we are definitely going along this exponential growth, okay? So this is what I'm drawing onto my graph. That's how much we are growing. So let's think about this. So on 3/23, we had 43,734 cases. So this is in 2 days. The US has seen a growth. So if we subtract these two numbers together, that's what I'm doing, I am subtracting. We have had 11,834 additional cases within 2 days. This is alarming, okay? This is something that is serious. We definitely want to pay attention to the data, look at the math. Am I going to freak out? No, I'm just going to be more well aware, okay? I need to understand how fast this is growing and what I can do to stop the spread of it. So, being my mathematical self, I kind of, want to get more data. So, what other pandemic have we had that has affected a ton of people? Well, according to the history books, we had the 1918 pandemic, okay? Some people refer to it as the Spanish flu, but I like to think of it as the 1918 pandemic. And that is what the CDC is calling it. This is where I got this information, okay? The CDC website. So what do we know about it? Well, we know that the 1918 influenza pandemic was of avian origin. You're like, what did she just say? Well, avian origin means it came from some type of animal. And the animal was most likely something that resembled a bird, something that could take flight, something that has wings. So was it a bat? I don't know. But I know it was definitely some type of animal that can fly. Okay. And here are some data that they had. They estimate about 500 million people, or better yet, 1/3 of the entire world's population became infected with the virus. That's a lot of people, okay? That's just not the US, that's just not China, that's not Italy, that's everywhere, okay? So 1/3 of the entire world's population became infected with the virus. So this is something that was huge. It also killed a lot of people as well, okay? So that's what we know about our history. We know that this has happened before, okay? I also wanted to share a little bit of my experience. Again, I said I was a math teacher, but before I was a math teacher, I was actually a math student. So as an undergrad at UC Berkeley, I did some research in computational biology, and I actually studied the cost analysis of human papillomavirus, most commonly referred to as HPV. I did not do this research by myself. Me and 2 other undergraduates, as well as a graduate student and several advisors, we worked on this research together. What we wanted to do was we wanted to control the spread of HPV in the population, okay? So we are comparing 2 different strategies. And I'm not going to get into too much detail about what we did, but I do want to show you the results because I think these results are somewhat relative to what we need to stop the pandemic with COVID-19. We know that the infective population will remain large due to a high transmission rate. So that means people are going to keep getting infected because it's easily passed along from one person to the next. So this was true in HPV, and I think this is also very true in COVID-19, okay? And our results, they support a conclusion, and it requires a high efficacy and high vaccine coverage to eliminate the epidemic, okay? As of today, March 25th, there is no current vaccine that has been proven to eliminate COVID-19. But I hope that people are working on it. And this is something that everybody should be kind of helping towards. So what that means is, hey, there are certain guidelines that have been set out to help stop the spread of the disease. And some of those guidelines is, hey, we have a 15-day pause. That means most people aren't going to work for the next 15 days. Schools are shut down, churches are shut down, stores are shut down. I can't go and buy, a glove at Dick's Sporting Goods because, it's closed down. I can't go to the gym and work out because it's closed. I can't go to Blenders and get a smoothie because it's closed. I can't go to work and, give my lecture to my students because it's closed. Okay. The only thing that's pretty much open right now are grocery stores and anything that's medical. Meaning, I can still go to the doctor, I can, have labs done. My son, he's, about a year old, he still has his doctor's visits. And, when I go to the doctors, and I'm with my son, they are all wearing masks. They take my temperature, they take his temperature. We have gloves. We have to stand 6 feet away from one another in the lobby. And every 5 minutes, people are going by and, wiping down counters and chairs, with disinfectant. And I feel so thankful that they're still open and taking these precautions because, we still have to live our normal day-to-day lives. People get sick, people need vaccines, people need breathing treatments, people need to see their specialist, people need to get labs done. The world just doesn't stop on a dime, but we have to take precautions so that it doesn't get to the point where we can't even see our doctors for a checkup. Okay. So all of this is really important. We really need to stay inside and do a self-isolation. You can't go out and party. You can't go out to a family barbecue. And you can't go to the park. You can't go to the beach. And that's okay. We're going to get there. We were there before and we'll get there again. Just not right now. Okay? That's it. So what's going to happen? Well, you have control. You have control of what's going to happen. For me, my control is I do online grocery shopping. That is something that I'm doing to help myself, my family, and my community, okay? I am not going into the grocery stores and transmitting the disease or grabbing it and passing it on to somebody else. I'm just trying to do my thing, trying to, stay afloat, make sure that I'm eating, staying healthy by getting groceries online. The other thing that I'm doing is I'm teaching remotely online. So all of my classes have videos just like this that I'm making for them, except it's a lot more math content. And they get to have their lectures recorded and they can go and see it on my YouTube channel and also in their Canvas page. Another thing that I'm doing is I'm actually taking a self-inventory. You're like, what? What's a self-inventory? I want to make sure that for about 5 minutes each day, that's all it takes, about 5 minutes, I need to make sure that I'm okay. And the way that I do it, being my mathematical self, is I have a scale from 0 to 10, okay? 0 being not worried at all. 10 being panic. I'm never leaving my house. And 5 being somewhere right in between. So I take a self-inventory and I have, from 0 to 10 about how I feel about the COVID-19. Where am I feeling? And every day is different, and even throughout the day, I might be different. I think when I first started, my initial point value was about pi. You're like, what? What do you mean pi? Well, first of all, I am a math professor, so I have to, use my analysis here. Well, pi is irrational. It's never ending. Never repeating. And also, it's about 3.14. About, and again, I said it's never ending, never repeating, so it doesn't just stop at that 1.4, it's actually 1, 5, 9, 2, blah, 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 but most commonly known as 3.14. So I was about here. when this whole thing started. Now, on March 25th, when we have 55,000 cases in the United States, I'm about a 2 pi. So if you're like, wait, what is the value of 2 pi? Well, the value of 2 pi is about 6.28. So I'm about here. Okay. So you can say I'm somewhere between a 6 and a 7. And that's how I'm feeling today, right now, on March 25th at 11:49 a.m. in the morning. Okay. And it's gonna change, and that's okay. I just know that the only thing I have control of is how I react to the situation. I know some of my friends, when I was talking to them yesterday, they were in denial, meaning when they first heard about COVID-19 a couple of weeks ago, they're like, oh yeah, that thing that's happening in China, it's really awful, that sucks, it's happening over there. But I'm here, I'm in America, I'm in California, I'm gonna be fine. And now, with the state of things, talking to them, they said, oh my gosh, like now it's in my backyard, like this is real, like I haven't been to work for an entire week. I was taking classes, and now, I'm taking the classes online. I don't want to see my parents because my parents are older and I can't visit them because I'm afraid of giving them the virus. These are all things that we have control over, okay? You have control whether or not you spread it to other people by staying at home. I think that's the most important thing that we need to do as a population, is not go out there in the masses and, kind of spread these germs around. More people, or some people, are more vulnerable than others, and you just want to be respectful of that. One of the other things that I'm making sure that I do is I'm making sure that I'm setting goals. I think that's really important for everybody to keep their sanity. What are your goals? What does that look like? For me, it's keeping my family healthy. Okay. Another thing that I want to make sure is that I want to make sure that my students are learning. I'm a teacher by choice. I love what I do. I love my career. And I want to make sure that I still have that content ready for my students. It's not just a semester that they're going to lose out. Some students need this in order to transfer. Some students need this in order to get to that next stage that they want to get to in life. Okay, so making sure that I play a role in facilitating the knowledge that is needed in order for them to achieve that goal. Okay. The other goal that I have is making sure that I have fun. Okay. And you're like, wait, fun? Yeah, it's really important for your mental health to have some fun. So what I'm doing to have some fun is I am, playing a dance, game on my Switch, platform that I have, and I like dancing to it, and that's fun for me. It's silly, nobody's watching me, I'm in my living room, and I just kind of shake it all about. And that's okay, because I'm having fun and it's good for my mental health. The other thing that I'm making sure that I'm doing is I'm actually getting fresh air every day. I know that we're not supposed to be going out in the masses and spreading the disease around, but as long as we are careful and have that 6 feet distance between one another, I think it's really important for us to get some, vitamin D, get some sunshine, and get some fresh air. It's good to be out in nature. Now, out in nature, I'm not at the beach, with 50,000 people, on spring break, but I'm walking around my neighborhood and I'm just going around the block and just making sure that I'm still appreciating the small things. Like the other day, I saw a caterpillar and I stopped and I stared at it for, several minutes. And then I continue onward, and then I look up at the trees and I see a bird, and I stare at it for a couple of minutes and I keep walking. You really want to take your time outside and just appreciate the little things. If you see a flower, stop to smell the roses, right? This is the time that you guys have to really slow down your pace of life. Most people are just, I have to wake up, I have to get to work, I have to come home, I have to make dinner, I have to help my kids with the homework, I have to get them ready for bed, brush their teeth, and then, okay, nighttime, and then they start the cycle all over again. And now is the time that we get to kind of just sit and relax and have time to cook, time to talk with one another, time to reflect, time to set goals, time to just really do what you want to do for yourself. And like I said, I'm not an expert in anything other than math, and I hope that this video is helpful in some way. All right, well, if you have any questions, you know where to reach me.